Good afternoon. Welcome to FND's Beginning the Journey, Part 1. Beginning the Journey explores early intervention services, the early steps system, the eligibility process, and how IFSP or individual family support plans are written, and the procedural safeguards that are in place for the family. So let's get started. Let me introduce myself. My name is Kibwana Wright. I am the Poppin parent trainer for the Northeast region of Florida. And so it's a pleasure to be with you today. And you joining me today already makes a significant impact on the life of your child. So welcome. I'm here under dual hats, first as a professional who has worked with families and children with disabilities for over 20 years. Also as a parent of children who have disabilities. And so I found a little bit about my story. I found out through a conversation that I had with another parent that I should have my child evaluated. It was through that conversation that we were having about some of the challenges she was facing with her own child, with the education, the curriculum, the general education teacher, that her story looked so much like mine. It was so similar to my daughter's experience that it was the thing that caused me to go and get my daughter evaluated. And from then, I was thrust into this process of special education. And so I had to learn how to navigate the system and how to advocate for my child and to teach her how to advocate for herself and my other two children who were not on IEPs, but needed special services as well. And so this is why FND is here for you today, to help give you the tools you need to make it through the special education process here in Florida, and to help your children advocate for themselves. So a little bit about FND. We are a nonprofit 501c3 nonprofit organization, meaning we do not work for state or local federal agencies or schools. We are funded in part by the U.S. Department of Education and the U.S. Department of Health. We offer free services because we receive different grants to provide resources and supports for families from birth to 21. We are a statewide Parent Training Information Center, or PTI, and the statewide Family to Family Health Information Center. FND was founded in 1985 by parents of children with disabilities who came together looking for mutual support and information sharing. Family Network on Disabilities, or FND, is a national network of individuals of all ages who may be at risk, have disabilities, or have special needs, and their children and their families. We also serve professionals and concerned citizens. FND is unique because the majority of our board members, our management staff, our program staff are family members or persons with disabilities. So it's important to make this disclaimer here, what FND, what we do, not do, and what we do. And so we are not attorneys, we're not doctors, we're not mental health professionals. We do not attend IEP meetings. We follow information. The following information cannot be in any way taken as medical or legal advice. So we do not give any type, nothing that you hear in our webinars or our workshops can be considered as medical or legal advice. However, we are excited to be able to share with you vetted information, vetted resources from federally funded organizations, information that is research based, and it is where we get where we have created our trainings out of this research-based information. And so we are encouraged to collaborate with schools and other agencies, and we are here to be a support for you and your families. So let's talk real quick about IDEA. And Part C. So this webinar, we will be talking about early steps, the Early Steps program. It is our goal to provide you with general information of the program, important steps of the early intervention process, and an explanation of your rights while in the program. Okay. Right. So, what is early intervention, or EI? All right. And so early intervention is where an agency will intervene early with your child from birth until age 3 to help get your child assessed, evaluated, and eligibility, and then resources. Okay. No one expects the child to have special needs. That's no one, you know. And so as a parent of a child who has received the news that, you know, your child needs to have services, or your child is struggling in some areas and need some type of support, you know, it can be kind of overwhelming for parents. I remember feeling that I was a bad parent. What was wrong with me? That, you know, was it that did I not connect with my child? That, you know, there was something in me that made me feel like it was my fault as a parent. And so no one really expects to, you're excited about being pregnant, and you're excited through the birth process. And so no one expects to hear, you know, that your child has special needs or has a disability. It's just natural to go through the different emotional stages that might include frustration, denial, or fear. But it's the beginning of the journey. And with supports of early intervention program, it can help. And it can help you by getting you the information that you need as a parent, but also it helps to get your child what they need early enough so that some of the gaps that they might have missed as far as those different milestones might be met with the supports that they are able to get. The idea is to build awareness and to create proximity with early interventions are services offered to eligible infants and toddlers, like I said, birth to 36 months, with significant delays or a condition likely to result in developmental delays. Early intervention is provided to support families and caregivers in developing the competence and confidence they need to help come along the side of their child and to help their child develop. These services are designed to meet the developmental needs of an eligible child and their family, as stated in the Individual's Family Support Plan, or IFSP, and provided under public supervision by qualified personnel through private and public resources. Early intervention services are funded in part by under Part C of the Individuals with Disabilities Act, known as IDEA. In the state of Florida, the Early Step System is in charge of the provision of early intervention services to families and their children. So why is early intervention so important? During the first 3 years of life, the brain undergoes dramatic developmental development as the child acquires the ability to think, speak, learn, and reason. 0 to 3 websites tell us that a child's brain undergoes amazing periods of development from birth to 3, producing more than 1 million neural connections each second. Areas of child development. So you see, we have cognitive development, physical development, communication development, social and emotional development, and adaptive development. So that's a lot of development going on as far as in the brain. During this time, we have those 5 areas that are being developed. So when experiencing developmental delays as measured by appropriate diagnostic instruments and procedures in one or more of the developmental areas, you see that if diagnosed with physical or mental condition that has a high probability of resulting in developmental delays. And so something like very low birth weight, under 1,200 grams, or Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, spinal bifida, autism spectrum disorder. And so we're talking about things like that. So a child might be found eligible for early intervention services when they are experiencing those developmental delays. Okay. So how are early intervention services funded? And that's IDEA Part C. So Part C awards grants to states to assist them in implementing statewide systems of coordinated, comprehensive, multidisciplinary interagency programs and making early intervention services available to children with disabilities aged birth through 3 and their families. Under the program, states are responsible for ensuring that appropriate early intervention services are made available to all eligible birth through 3-year-olds with disabilities and their families, including Indian children, and families who reside on reservations geographically located within the state. So in Florida, we have Early Steps. Early Steps is family-centered, team-based primary service providers approach. So you have a multifaceted team, might be with social workers, speech pathologists, so on and so forth. And it'll be in the child's natural environment. So early steps are based on early step evaluations and your family's concerns, resources, and goals. Family Steps uses a team-based, multi primary service provider approach, which aims to empower each eligible family by providing a comprehensive team of professionals from the beginning of the services through transition. The family the goal is for the family to receive strong support from one person, provide a comprehensive team of professionals from beginning to end, and for the family to have fewer appointments and more time to be a family. Services are provided to the family and child where they live, learn, and play to enable the family to implement developmentally appropriate learning opportunities during everyday activities and routines. Most services will be early intervention home visits. So who can refer to Early Steps and how much does it cost? Early Steps receive referrals from other sources like pediatrician offices, community partners, and child care centers. We ask our referrals to at least inform the parent of the referral. Our program is voluntary. This means that you are in control. Parents can accept or decline services and stay in our program as long as they consider the supports necessary. Services are at no cost to the family. We bill insurance or Medicaid if available. We never bill families. No income criteria is necessary to qualify for our services. The only essential criteria is that your child criteria is your child's development. If you have concerns about your child's development, you don't have to wait. Parents and caregivers are welcome to contact Early Steps to refer their child to reopen the cases. All right, so when entering the Early Steps system, Early Steps has no more than 45 business days to complete these steps and to start providing services to the eligible child. The first contact phase. This is the phase of Early Steps processes that occurs between referral and initial evaluation assessment. The first 44 days of the family's involvement with Early Steps. The purpose of the first contacts process is to gather information about the child and the family in preparation for the evaluation and assessment, and provide the family with information about Early Steps. The initial contact, which is most often a telephone call is to occur within 5 working days of the referral. This is the first time the representative makes contact with the family to inform them that the referral has been received and advise them of the next steps in the process. Next is the initial assessment and evaluation. Each eligible child, regardless of how eligibility is determined, must receive an initial and ongoing assessment. The assessment of each child must include a review of the results and evaluation, personal observations of the child, identification of the needs of the child and family. The evaluation, the multidisciplinary procedures used by the appropriate qualified personnel to determine a child's initial and continuing eligibility for early steps, consistent with the definition of infants and toddlers with disabilities in statutes 303.21, including determining the status of the child in each of the developmental areas. An initial evaluation refers to the child's evaluation to determine his or her initial eligibility. So what is the goal of the assessment? The first is the child's unique strengths and needs. They are going to assess and find out what the child does good, well, and where does the child need more support. They will also then go to the family's resources, priorities, and concerns. They will identify risks and then take action. And this is all to, at the end of the day, to enhance the family's capacity. This information is a part of the writing of the individual family support plan known as the IFSP. It has the family's information, getting to know the child and the family, the health status and insurance, developmental screening results, services coordination, child's assessment, eligibility determination, part 1 and 2, outcomes, goals, strategies, services needed to achieve those outcomes, and transition. So all of that is written within this individual family support plan. Your IFSP team may include some of these members and more. Again, you might, we said earlier that it is multidisciplinary. It takes a multidisciplinary approach, meaning it's a lot of different types of professionals that come together to bring supports to your child. So we have a service coordinator, infant and toddler developmental specialist, family resources specialist, speech and language pathologist, physical therapist, occupational therapist. All of these disciplines make up that multidisciplinary team, and they are the ones that are going to be providing the services and helping to write this plan. Early intervention should be provided in the child's natural environment, and this starts at home. A setting that is natural or typical for the same age infant or toddler without a disability. That is our goal, or that is the goal when they're in school, is to give them the opportunity to be in a classroom with their peers. And so at home, it is the first classroom, and they want the child to be receive services in the child's natural environment, along with other toddlers, other children, other family members without disabilities. So places and people that they want the child around places and people that the child knows, trusts, and interacts with them on a daily basis. So combining these two sets of provisions makes it clear that early intervention services must be provided in settings that are natural or typical for same-age infant or toddler children without disabilities to the maximum extent appropriate. This also may be provided in other settings only when, services may be provided in other settings only when the services cannot be achieved satisfactorily in the natural environment. So once a year, okay, once a year, you will have a face-to-face annual review of the child's developmental development in all domains, including a review of existing evaluations and assessments from community providers, and a determination of continuing eligibility. The IFSP team will review the success and appropriateness of the services authorized on the IFSP and consider revisions of the IFSP plan as needed and agreed upon by the IFSP team. At a minimum, the family services coordinator and at least one of the other professional members of the team must attend. IDEA Part C refers to this review as the annual evaluation of the IFSP. Parental safeguards. It records confidentiality and releases of information. Records confidentiality and release of information. Parents have the right to request a copy of their child's records at any time. First copy will be provided for free. Prior written notice and native language. You must be given prior written notice in a reasonable time before Early Steps or a service provider proposes to initiate or change or refuse to initiate or change the identification evaluation or placement of your child, or the provisions of appropriate early intervention services for the child and family. The notice will help you be more prepared and will state information, including the action that is being proposed or refused, the reason for taking the action. All procedural safeguards are available under Early Steps. The Early Steps complaint procedures and timelines. Parental consent. Early Steps needs your permission to take actions that affect your child. You will be asked to give your consent in writing before Early Steps conducts a screening, evaluation, assessment, private insurance is used. Personally identifiable information is disclosed, or before early intervention services are provided. They must get your written consent. Consent means that you are fully informed in your native language or other mode of communication of all information related to the activity of Early Steps in requesting your consent, that you understand and agree in writing to the carrying out of the activities in which your consent is being requested. And the consent describes the activity and lists the records, if there are any, that will be released and to whom they will be released to. And that you understand you are giving your consent, and that it's voluntary and you can be taken away at any time. All right. Next, for surrogate parents. If a child is a ward of the state, a surrogate parent may be appointed by the judge overseeing the infant or toddler's case, provided that the surrogate parent meets federal and state requirements. Mediation. All right. So mediation is free to you and does not interfere with your child's right to due process hearing or any other rights in Early Steps. Mediation discussions are confidential and will not be used in subsequent due process hearings or civil proceedings. Mediation will be scheduled in a timely manner within 21 calendar days of the receipt of a request signed by both parties, and will be held in a location that is convenient for all parties. Any agreements reached in mediation will be put in writing and signed by all parties. Complaint procedures. You have the right to file a complaint alleging that Early Steps or a service provider has violated a requirement of Early Steps. Complaints must be written and signed and included in the following information: a statement that Early Steps or service provider has violated your rights, the facts on which the complaint is based, your signature and contact information, the name, address, and residence of the child, the name, address of the residence of your child, the description of the nature of the problem of the child, including facts relating to the problem, a proposed resolution of the problem to the extent known and available to you at the time the complaint is filed. So let me stop there. They're saying don't just give, it's great if you have a complaint, your rights have been violated, file your complaint. However, give them a solution that would fit you as well, okay? I think that's important. That way parents feel empowered in this process. And lastly, an allegation of violation that occurred within 1 year prior to the date of complaint is received. Complaints must be mailed to the Florida Department of Health, Children's Medical Services, and Early Steps state offices. A due process hearing. You have the right to file a due process hearing request when there is a disagreement regarding the proposal to initiate or change, or refusal to initiate or change the identification, evaluation, or placement of your child. The provision of appropriate early intervention services to your child or family, or to challenge information in the early steps record to ensure that it is not inaccurate, misleading, or otherwise in violation of the privacy or other rights of your child. A due process hearing request must be filed with the state of Florida of this within the Florida Department of Health, Children's Medical Services, Early Steps office as well. The party submitting a due process hearing request or other attorney must ensure the other parties receive a copy of the hearing request, which must remain confidential. Confidential. A due process hearing request must include the child's name, the address, the name of the early intervention provider serving your child, a description of the nature of the problem of your child relating to the proposed or refused initiation or change, including facts relating to the problem, a proposed resolution of the problem to the extent and available to you at the time, and an allegation that the action forming the basis of the due process complaint occurred within 2 years of the date of early steps, or the provider knew or should have known about the alleged action. Within 10 days of the due process hearing request, you will receive a written response from the other party addressing each issue you raised in your due process hearing request. If you have not received prior written notice regarding the issues addressed in your due process hearing request, then the response will also include the following: explanation why early steps proposed or refused to take actions raised in the due process hearing request, a description of the other options that IFSP team considered and the reasons why those were rejected, a description of each evaluation procedure, assessment, record, or report used as the basis for the proposed or refused action, and a description of the other factors relevant to the proposed or refused action. The hearing officers will determine the sufficiency of the due process hearing request. Either party may challenge the sufficiency of the due process hearing request by filing a written claim with the hearing officer within 15 days of the hearing request. Within 5 days of the receipt of the challenge, the hearing officer will issue a ruling on the sufficiency of the due process hearing request. Parents have the right to refuse services or stop them at any time. And that's very important for me to state at this point. Parents have the right to disagree and be an active participant in every decision made for the child. They have the right to explicit consent, which means consent as a result of an educated decision. All right, so this is our FND Family Network on Disabilities program page. Here you see we have Poppin. We have Poppin, which is in the northeast part, the northern part of Florida. We have PSM, which is in the central and west parts of Florida. And we have Penn, which covers the central and eastern borders counties of Florida. We also have our Family Star, which is our family-to-family health program as well. We have Dadvocates, which is a network of dads that promotes the involvement of fathers in the lives of children with disabilities. This program is intended to help provide father-to-father support throughout Florida. We can provide your group with a specific workshop topic, or we can just meet for networking, outings, information or resource sharing, help with coping, or fathers who just are looking for a sense of unity. FND also has the Special Needs Trust. FND provides comprehensive special needs trust services, including services as a trustee, co-trustee, or trust administrator. We handle all types of special needs trusts, including pooled trusts. Family Network serves as a trustee for the Family Network on Disabilities National Pooled Trust, proudly serving persons with disabilities since 1999. We also serve as administrators for several other pooled trusts, including FND's Pool Fund of Third-Party Trusts. And again, we have other individual special need trusts that we are over as well. So here is our information. If you'd like to contact us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. If you go to our website, which is www.fndusa.org, you can click on the tab that says ESE downloadables or resources, and we have a plethora of information and tip sheets that you can print out and use for your personal use. Okay, and we also have FND University, which is a non-accredited online system, especially designed to help parents and professionals learn more about the special education process at their own pace. Okay, and again, that's fndusa.org, and you can find that at /FND University. So I'd like to thank you for joining me here today. If you would like more information about FND or anything concerning this workshop, you can contact us at fndusa.org, or you can call us here, and our contact numbers are here as well. So I'd like to thank you for joining me here today. It has been a pleasure sharing this information with you. Thank you so much. Have a good day.